Well, let's get Avery Johnson's opinion on Phil Jackson possibly ascending to the role of Knick basketball poobah. Avery, how you doing? It's Michael and Don.
Hey, Michael. Hello, Don. How are you guys?
We're doing okay.
Great.
So what do you think of this Phil Jackson rumor?
It's pretty interesting, Michael. I think my first take on it is, why in the world would the Los Angeles Lakers allow somebody with the basketball IQ, the experience, the success as an NBA coach, leave their camp? So that's my first thing that crossed my mind. Obviously, it'd be great for the Knicks, with him having a playing part of his career, and the Knicks obviously need a lot of help on a lot of different levels. So he would obviously bring some stability there, and he could build his team in terms of his management team. Obviously, I would love to see Mike Woodson survive past this year, but who knows what's going to happen on that front. But it's pretty interesting that the Lakers would allow Phil Jackson to become president of basketball operations with the Knicks.
Probably because you don't know what kind of executive he would be, but do you think that he would make for a good general manager if given that position, just based on what he's done as a coach?
Well, he has a tremendous amount of experience, and, when you're a coach on Phil's level, you've obviously had great insight, and with previous general managers that you've worked with, whether it be Jerry Krause or West or even Mitch Kupchak. So, when you're a coach on an elite status where he is, he's earned the right to have a say-so in terms of personnel. So I'm sure, Phil wasn't just a basketball coach. He's had a lot of input. And the same way guys like, Pat Riley, nobody really knew what type of executive he was going to be when he even left the Knicks and decided to go full-time in terms of being an executive. So I think Phil has that same capability.
It is interesting, though. I mean, everybody brings up Riley and Jerry West and the like, those guys that made the transition into GM and were outstanding at it. But there are some guys that were really good coaches that would be terrible GM. I think Larry Brown would be a terrible GM. He falls in and out of love with people all the time. Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time, and he seems like he's a terrible predictor of talent. So it's not a slam dunk, Avery, that just because you're a good coach means that you'd be a great GM.
As you know, Michael, basketball, whether it's on the court or in management, is a team sport. Obviously, I got a great amount of respect for my mentor, Greg Popovich, and R.C. Buford and their team. But there are a lot of other guys that you don't hear out, in the media very often, whether it's a player personnel guy, whether it's scouts that's traveling all around the country, and they're not traveling by private aircraft either. It's commercial, and it's express jets, and they're beating the pavement and traveling all over the country watching players. And you got guys overseas now. You have international scouts. So it takes a great team. But at the same time, a lot of those successful guys, whether it's West or Riley, will tell you that their jobs were a whole lot easier when you have Shaquille O'Neal and LeBron James and Kobe Bryant of the world.
All right, now he's going to need to find a coach, likely, because he probably want to bring in his own guy. Avery, as somebody who's coached in this league before, are the Knicks an attractive job for a head coach with Phil Jackson making the decisions upstairs because they've got a good chance to win? Or would you stay away from that because you would feel like there'd be this impression that he is pulling the strings and all the great things you would do, he would get credit for?
Well, I just think, look at the kind of the situation that you can take a look at that could be a great example. Danny Ainge has had an awful lot of success with the Boston Celtics. And, when Doc Rivers left and went to the Clippers, Danny Ainge brought in a coach, gave him stability from a contractual standpoint, 6-year deal. He's all in with his coach. He's not trying to replace his coach after one bad season because they're all on the same page in terms of the vision of the program. The coach is not looking over his shoulders wondering if Danny Ainge is going to, come down and coach the team like he did when he was coaching the Phoenix Suns. I think the same thing with Phil. Whatever coach that they decide to bring in, he's going to have stability. He's not going to sign a 2-year contract. It'll be a long-term deal where they can work together. It's a guy that's not going to have to look over his shoulders and wonder if the team gets off to a 500 start or below 500 start, that Phil's going to come down from heaven and coach the team. So I just think the way Phil would set it up, it would give the incoming coach a lot of confidence to know that he can coach. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder, but at the same time, you'll have the Zen master upstairs if you obviously need to talk about coaching situations or offense or whatever.
All right, final thing, Avery. The Knicks have won 3 in a row. If you look at their schedule, they should win 3 more in a row. That would be 6. The Hawks can't win a game except against the Knicks. They're 1-15. I'm going to let you call the shot here, Avery. Should Knicks fans get excited? Can the Knicks make the playoffs?
The Knicks still have a shot. Yeah, they still have a shot. I had them, getting in the 7 or 8 seed. So I think they still have a chance. They've been playing pretty good basketball, favorable schedule. And maybe, the focus on Phil Jackson and whether he's going to join the team or not can be a positive distraction for them where they can just play basketball because, obviously it's been a rough season. But from what I'm hearing, Chandler is not playing. So
not playing tonight.
That could be a major blow to their team and obviously their defense. But this is do or die. Rick Carlisle has been recently talking about every Dallas Mavericks game is a Super Bowl. Well, it's Super Bowl on steroids for the Knicks. Every game is a must-win.